Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Kennedy half-dollar coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic and talked about coins in US history, the Kennedy half-dollar bicentennial edition, minted with the dual date 1776 to 1976. This coin isn't just pocket change, it's a piece of American pride, full of historical significance, beautiful design, and in some rare cases, serious value. So if you've got one of these half-dollars sitting in a drawer or tucked away in a coin jar, don't move, because it just might be worth more than you think. First, let's talk about why this coin is so special. In 1976, the United States celebrated 200 years of independence. To mark the occasion, the U.S. Mint released special bicentennial designs on the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins. The Kennedy half-dollar got a beautiful redesign just for this celebration, and it's the only version to ever feature a special reverse image. Independence Hall, the birthplace of America's freedom. The front of the coin still features the familiar profile of President John F. Kennedy, but flip it over and you're met with that powerful image of Independence Hall and the words, 200 Years of Freedom. It's patriotic, it's elegant, and it's unlike any other Kennedy half-dollar in circulation. Now, here's where things get exciting for collectors. These coins were minted in huge numbers, over 500 million in total, so most of them are pretty common, especially the ones made for everyday use. But as always in the world of coin collecting, rarity, condition, and errors make all the difference. Let's talk about rarity. While most were struck in copper-nickel, the U.S. Mint also released special 40% silver versions for collectors, and these are instantly more desirable. Some of them came in mint sets or proof sets and were never meant for circulation. If you come across a 1976 Kennedy half-dollar with a mirror-like finish, chances are it's a silver proof, and it could be worth far more than face value, but the real treasure lies in minting errors and high-grade examples. Some rare errors include double die obverse, where the lettering or details on Kennedy's profile appear slightly doubled, a mistake made during the minting process that collectors absolutely love. Others include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal. These errors are not only rare, they're one of a kind, and that makes them highly valuable. Collectors also go wild for coins that have been preserved in perfect condition. If your 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar has no wear, sharp details, and a shiny surface, it might be considered MS-65 or higher. That's mint state, and it can significantly increase the value. So, what could this coin actually be worth today? Well, let's break it down in plain words. A regular circulated copper-nickel Kennedy bicentennial half-dollar is usually worth just around its face value, 50 cents. But if you have a proof or uncirculated silver version, it could be worth between $5 and $15 depending on its condition. Now, listen closely, if you happen to own a high-grade coin graded MS-67 or above, or a coin with a verified mint error, you could be holding something far more valuable. Some of these coins have sold at auction for over $1,000, and the highest recorded price for a silver bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar in top condition is around $2,500. That's right, from 50 cents to thousands, all depending on the coin's quality, rarity, and those amazing minting mistakes. So, if you've got one of these historic half-dollars, take a closer look. Is it silver? Is it uncirculated? Do you see anything unusual or misprinted? You might be looking at a hidden gem, and if you're just starting out as a coin collector, the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar is a perfect coin to add to your collection. It's rich in history, stunning in design, and full of surprises. Top 2, we're digging into a coin that might just be hiding in plain sight, the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it looks like your everyday half-dollar, but once you understand its history, rarity, and the small details that make it valuable, you might never look at this coin the same way again. So, before you toss it into a change jar or spend it without a second thought, listen closely, because this coin could be worth much more than 50 cents. Let's start with a bit of background. The Kennedy half-dollar has been in circulation since 1964, released just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. For decades, it's been a coin that not only honors a legacy but has also fascinated collectors. The 1981 edition holds a unique place in the series. It was minted at a time when the Kennedy half-dollar was no longer a common coin in circulation. In fact, by the late 1970s and early 1980s, most Americans didn't use half-dollars in daily transactions anymore. They were becoming more of a collector's item than a circulating coin. That's what makes the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar so interesting. These coins were not released into general circulation. Instead, they were only made for collector mint sets, and most people never saw one in their daily life. That means finding a 1981 half-dollar, especially one in great condition, is more unusual than you might think. There are three main versions of this coin, minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The San Francisco Mint also produced beautiful proof coins, with a mirror-like finish designed especially for collectors. These versions were never intended to be spent at all, they were created purely for the hobby, but rarity isn't the only thing that makes this coin stand out. Just like many other coins, the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar has some interesting errors and varieties that send collectors into a frenzy. Among the most sought after are the double die obverse, DDO, coins, where parts of the design, like the date or lettering, appear slightly doubled under magnification. These errors were caused during the minting process and are rare enough to catch a collector's eye and raise the coin's value significantly. Another thing collectors pay close attention to is the coin strike quality, how clearly the design appears. A coin with a strong strike and no wear, especially one graded by a professional service as MS-66 or MS-67, is a standout. And the proof coins from San Francisco? If they're graded PR-69 or PR-70, they can command serious prices on the collector market. So, if you're lucky enough to have one of these coins, take a good look. Is it in pristine condition? Is it from a mint set? Do you notice any doubling or unusual features? Because even a small detail could mean a big difference in value. Now let's talk about the part everyone's been waiting for. How much is the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar actually worth? If you have a typical circulated 1981 Kennedy half-dollar, its value is close to face value, about 50 cents. But if your coin came from a mint set and is still in uncirculated condition, it could be worth anywhere from $2 to $10, depending on its mint and condition. Now here's where things get exciting. A 1981 Kennedy half-dollar in mint state grade MS-67 has sold for as much as $150 at auction. A flawless proof coin graded PR-70 deep cameo from the San Francisco Mint can be worth up to $125 or more. And if you happen to come across a genuine double die error, that could easily push the value over $200, depending on rarity and demand. Not bad for a coin that most people forget about, right? So check your collections, go through your mint sets, and take another look at your Kennedy half-dollars. The 1981 edition might not be the oldest or the rarest coin out there, but with the right condition or error, it could turn out to be a surprisingly valuable piece of history. Top 3. Today, we're shining the spotlight on a modern classic, the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar. Now, at first glance, this coin might seem like just another piece of modern US currency. But don't be fooled, because tucked within this familiar coin is a story of history, variety, and surprising value that many collectors overlook. So whether you're just getting into coin collecting or you've been stacking silver for years, stick around, because the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar has more secrets than you might expect. Let's begin with some quick background. The Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination. Over the years, the coin became more than just currency. It became a symbol of national pride, and eventually, a collector's favorite. Now, fast forward to 1998. This year is particularly interesting for collectors because it represents one of the last years the Kennedy half-dollar was widely available to the public in circulation. After 2001, these coins were minted only for collectors, meaning the 1998 version is among the final chapters of the series that you could actually get at the bank or in pocket change. The coin was struck at 3 U.S. mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. But here's where things get exciting. 1998 isn't just about business strikes. It's the year that saw the release of something special, the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar matte finish, which came only in the special Kennedy collector's set. That version is a collector's dream, and we'll talk about why in just a moment, but let's not forget the hunt for errors, and 1998 offers some intriguing possibilities. As with many modern coins, collectors have reported die clashes, off-center strikes, rim doubling, and even faint double die varieties on some 1998 half-dollars. While not all of these errors are common, when you do find one, it could significantly increase your coin's value. And error coins are highly desirable, not just for their rarity, but because no two are ever exactly alike. The real showstopper, though, is that elusive 1998 matte finish silver half-dollar. Unlike the mirror-like proofs we usually see from San Francisco, this coin has a satin-like matte texture, and it was never released in circulation. It was created as part of a very limited collector set, paired with a special Robert F. Kennedy commemorative silver dollar. Fewer than 63,000 of these matte finish halves were ever made, making it one of the rarest Kennedy half-dollars of the modern era. Now, if you're wondering how to tell if you have a regular coin or the rare matte version, look closely. The matte finish has a soft, non-reflective surface and incredibly sharp details, especially around Kennedy's hair and the eagle on the reverse. It's a coin that stands out the moment you see it, and if you find one, you'll definitely want to keep it safe. So, what is the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar actually worth today? Well, for most regular business strike coins from Philadelphia or Denver in circulated condition, the value is usually around 50 cents to $1. In uncirculated condition, they can fetch between $2 and $5, especially if graded MS 65 or higher. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint with a shiny mirror finish usually sell for around $4 to $10, depending on their condition and grade. But here's where things get interesting. That rare 1998 matte finish silver half-dollar can be worth anywhere from $100 to $200, depending on the grade. And if it's professionally graded at the top levels, like SP 70, it can sell at auction for over $300. So yes, a 1998 half-dollar could just be pocket change, or it could be a hidden treasure worth hundreds. It all depends on what you've got and how well it's been preserved. So go ahead, check your collections, flip through those mint sets, and take a close look at your 1998 half-dollars. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. Top 4, we're diving into one of the most talked about coins from the 1970s, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it might seem like just another big coin from your pocket change, but hold on, because this one hides a few surprises that make it far more interesting than most people realize. Let's start with a bit of history. The Kennedy half-dollar series began in 1964, just months after President John F. Kennedy's assassination. The design was a tribute to the fallen president, and the coin quickly became a favorite among Americans. In the early years, these coins were struck in silver, 90% in 1964, and 40% from 1965 through 1970. But 1971 marked a major turning point. For the first time, the Kennedy half-dollar was made with no silver at all. Instead, it used a copper-nickel-clad composition, just like the dimes and quarters of the time. Over 300 million coins were struck that year between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. So yes, most 1971 Kennedy half-dollars are common, but not all of them. This is where things get exciting for collectors. First, let's talk about errors. While 1971 was the first official year without silver, a small number of coins were accidentally struck on leftover 40% silver planchets from 1970. These are called transitional errors, and they are extremely rare. They look like normal coins, but they sound different and weigh more. Instead of 11.34 grams like a regular clad coin, a silver one weighs around 11.5 grams. It might not seem like much, but that tiny difference could mean a massive jump in value. Other collectible errors include double die obverse varieties, where the lettering or date appears slightly doubled, and off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. You might also come across clipped planchets or strike-throughs. These unique errors can increase the value of the coin significantly, especially when combined with good condition. Now let's talk about grades. Most 1971 half dollars were heavily circulated, so finding one in pristine condition is tough. A coin graded MS-65 or higher is much harder to find and can bring serious attention from collectors. So, what's the real market value of a 1971 Kennedy half dollar? A regular circulated coin is usually worth 50 cents to $1. In uncirculated condition, prices range from $5 to $20, depending on grade. But if you've got a high-grade MS-67 example, it could be worth over $100. Now for the big one, if you find a 1971 Kennedy half dollar struck on a 40% silver planchet, the value can skyrocket. These rare transitional error coins have sold at auction for as much as $13,000, depending on condition and certification. So next time you see a 1971 Kennedy half dollar, don't ignore it. Flip it, weigh it, and check for errors. You never know, you might be holding a rare piece of US minting history. Top 5, and last rare coin, we're diving into a coin that many people overlook but has some hidden secrets that might just surprise you. The 1983 Kennedy half dollar. Whether you're new to collecting or a seasoned pro, this is one coin you'll want to hear about. So sit back, listen carefully, and let's uncover what makes this half dollar more than just 50 cents. The Kennedy half dollar has been a staple of American coinage since 1964, honoring President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. But by the 1980s, something interesting was happening. The half dollar was no longer used much in daily transactions. In fact, most people rarely saw one outside of banks or collector sets. But despite this, the US Mint continued producing them for circulation, and 1983 was no exception. Here's where things get interesting. In 1982 and 1983, the US Mint did not produce official mint sets, which means most 1983 Kennedy half dollars were used in everyday circulation. That's important because it means very few high-grade examples exist. Most of the coins from that year are scratched, worn, or damaged, and that makes finding a well-preserved 1983 half dollar extremely difficult, and when something is both hard to find and in demand, that's where collector value starts to rise. The 1983 Kennedy half dollar was struck at both the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, D mint mark. The Denver coins tend to be more common in high grades, while Philadelphia versions are significantly harder to find in great condition. In fact, some collectors believe the 1983 P is one of the toughest clad Kennedy halves to find in true mint state, but beyond condition, there's another reason collectors love the 1983 half: errors. Several types of mint errors have been found on 1983 Kennedy half dollars, and they can make an ordinary-looking coin extremely valuable. These include double die obverse errors, where the letters or date appear slightly doubled, and off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't struck correctly and part of the design is missing. There are also examples of strike-through errors, where foreign objects or debris got in the way during minting, leaving unusual marks or imprints on the coin's surface. These types of errors are rare, but when they do appear, they are highly collectible and can fetch impressive prices, especially when verified by professional grading services. Now let's talk about grades. Most 1983 half dollars were not saved in uncirculated condition, so finding one graded MS-65 or higher is challenging. For Philadelphia coins especially, a coin in mint state is something special, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for it. So what's the 1983 Kennedy half dollar actually worth today? In circulated condition, these coins are usually worth between 50 cents and $2. But if you have one in uncirculated condition, it can be worth $10 to $30, depending on the mint mark and grade. Coins graded MS-66 or MS-67, especially from the Philadelphia Mint, have sold at auction for $100 to $200. And if you have a confirmed mint error, such as a double die or a major off-center strike, your coin could be worth several $100s or more. So next time you come across a 1983 Kennedy half dollar, take a second look. It might be scratched and worn, or it might be a hidden gem that deserves a spot in your collection. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins hiding in plain sight, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, happy hunting, and always check your change.